can't believe you came in like that.
Here's overlay. Yeah, exactly.
Hey now.
Hey, good evening. Thank you everyone for attending. We all really appreciate it. I would like to call this meeting to order. May I have a mover? And a second? Thank you. I'd like to move on to item 2, approval of the agenda. I would like to recommend that the agenda be accepted as presented. A mover, please. And a second? Thank you. Item 3, declaration of interest. Nothing? Okay, let's move on to item 4. Delegations or presentations. I don't believe we have any, but if anyone has anything to say. No? Okay, we will move on. Item 5, minutes of the previous meeting. I would like to recommend that the minutes dated April 11th, 2023 be accepted as presented. May I have a mover? A second, thank you. Financial report.
I will,
Okay. Okay.
I'll just,
Thanks, Justin.
Run through that. I'll pull up on the screen. So you have a copy of your agenda package there as well. But I did simplify this month the spreadsheet. So those other columns, rows weren't there that were confusing things. So you'll see that we've allocated $1,000 to the iHeart Main Street installation, pending its approval, and the coordinator expense. So I moved those. I've also added this year-to-date allocated because we don't actually expense the things that we allocate until towards the end of the year in a reconciliation. So sometimes it's unclear how much money is actually left in that budget. So added the year-to-date allocated there to sort of give you a better idea as you're going through what is available. And then I've also added to this, it's not on your sheets, but we're going to start adding going forward the reserves. So we can have a look at where the reserves stand. So we carried forward into last year a balance of $52,000 in the financial reserves. Your revenue less expenses last year was about $2,500 left to go in there. You committed $29,000 from reserves between 3 large projects that will be expensed this year. So that is the lighting, the patio, and the pop-up. And your new balance is now around $26,000. So that's in the reserve fund.
Mm-hmm. And just an update as far as that amount, we will actually be submitting for the transfer of those expenses probably by the time the next meeting takes place, because we've expensed those items now, as most of you I'm sure are seeing from the new installations. And just wanted to say one more thank you to the BIA for your support of these initiatives. We'll have more updates about that further on in the meeting, but those monies will be gone by the next meeting.
Excellent. Well spent, I think. May I have a mover to accept the financial report be accepted as presented? Thank you. Committee reports, Marketing and Promotions Committee.
So because these ended up running into one of the agenda items here tonight, this will be very brief, but the marketing committee met the week after the last BIA meeting, and we discussed some ideas for some summer promotions. Started going in the direction that those would sort of be rolled in with some of the downtown activations we're doing. So we discussed that at the placemaking committee, activation related to the parklets and the downtown in general, and how we could sort of loop those together into a summer promotion. So we'll talk about that and what came out of that in the sole real agenda item there tonight later on.
Thank you. Move on to item 8, chair updates. Nothing for me this week. Still working on getting the MPP events lined up. We're just waiting on timeframes from them. We do have locations lined up. Again, it's just a matter of getting the timeframes lined up. And in regards to the MNP event, just waiting for things to calm down a little bit from tax season so that I can reach out to MNP again just to get that lined up. So still on the back burner and still getting momentum and moving forward, but not too much to report today. So move on to item 9. Any questions so far? Okay. Staff updates.
So I will start here with the OBIA strategic planning training. So we have now met twice since the last meeting, I believe, with the OBIA Train the Trainer. So in the broad training sessions that are taking place every second Thursday, the sort of steering committee core team of board members that volunteer for that, Linda, Bonnie, and Natalie, I've been taking those training sessions, and then the Monday afterwards, we've been sitting down to go over what is what's required, the homework, et cetera, for each of those. After the first training session, and we had the discussion at that meeting, we realized that likely trying to do the strategic plan during the summer season was a little too ambitious, given everyone's time constraints. So we set a timeline for that going forward. During this season, we're going to do some of the initial data gathering. So the steering committee will be putting together the questions that we'd like to ask stakeholders, the sort of data that we'll gather from a variety of interested parties, as well as the studies that will inform that final strategic plan document. In mid-October, we'd like to plan for a core part of the strategic planning process is a one-day training session, strategic planning session with the entire board. So that would be where we go through essentially the facilitated strategic plan process. You come up with your vision, your mission, some key identifiable targets, working together to try to come up with a cohesive idea and frame of reference for everyone. November and December, that's when we'll put together the plan. And then the final presentation will be at the AGM in 2024, that should say, next year, 2023 already. 2024, likely in January 2024, we'll do the next AGM, and that's where we'll present the strategic plan, which we're envisioning to be less of a large document and more of a single page or few page guiding principles type of document to get everyone started on the road you'd like to be on.
And our intention is kind of to have it to be reviewed every 3 to 4 years, which aligns with the changes of council and potentially the changes of the BIA. And really, we want it to be a path in terms of our mission and mandate, in terms of what we should be looking at moving forward, different projects. It gives us the ability to do a touch point in terms of, does this actually align with what we're supposed to be doing, what we want to be doing? And it's Amafra has done an amazing job in terms of just providing us with the tools and the PowerPoint presentations and everything else to be able to realistically do this, because like the first session, you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so huge. So, and again, we really want to have the one-day training session so that all board members' voices are heard, everyone's being involved, because again, we can't really be ambassadors out in the public if we don't understand what our vision and mandate are. Any questions, thoughts? Okay, thanks.
So the next item here, the iHeart Main Street update. We've submitted the application for the iHeart Main Street Downtown Steps Art Program grant and support. We're still waiting to hear back from that. That was due on April 30th. I anticipate we'll hear fairly soon whether that was successful. Once we do hear that, then that is when we can start planning for what kind of artists are we going to engage, what will the final product look like, what direction is that going in. But fingers crossed right now that application will be accepted. gonna roll right into the staff updates. And I'm jumping back and forth a little bit going through. I can start with what's on the market. We're opening again on May 20th this year from Victoria Day weekend to Labor Day weekend. Most weekends will be at the Promenade, which is the area between Edward Street on Edward Street between King Street and Water Street that will be closed down to traffic. So when we had the two markets there last year, when it was a long weekend installation, we saw a much larger turnout, not just of shoppers, but of vendors. It provides a really great backdrop for the market from just an aesthetic viewpoint. And we saw the people coming through, pulling off the road when they saw it coming down Edward Street or coming up King. So we'll be down there for that. We figured out that we can actually put 20 vendors on there without any additional space being needed. So with the new update to the sidewalk, that allowed that to happen. So we'll have lots of room for a very full market. We have 26 vendors committed, not full seasonal vendors. There are, I believe, 9 full seasonal vendors. The rest are occasional vendors. They'll be coming throughout the season, so shaking things up every week. And our new market clerk for the summer, Gabrielle Barrio, started last week. She's with us 3 days a week and will be covering the farmers market on Saturdays this summer. So pop-ups, Dana, I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, I can take the pop-ups and then. So I'm sure you've probably seen, they have been arriving this week. We're very excited. We have 4 of 6 pop-ups are here. The remaining 2 will be arriving tomorrow morning. So we also have 2 food trucks that we've added to that site as well that we're very excited about. We have a gelato truck, and then we have Judy's Wooden Spoon, which will be serving kind of a variety fare, more of like a kind of East Coast theme to some of her offerings. So we're very excited about that. They officially open same weekend, Victoria Day weekend. Everything is starting Victoria Day weekend. So we've got a lot of good things happening, and vendors will be taking occupancy this weekend. So you'll actually start to see vendors moving in and out. We're in the process of adding some furnishings. You may have seen there's some new tables that went in today. We've got signage on order. We're going to be doing a lot of cross promotions to promote the pop-ups as well as the different vendors that have actually signed up for that. And then we also have the lighthouse this year. Another exciting aspect to that is the reopening of the lighthouse to the public, the upper stories. So the public can once again go to the very top, look out and get a view of the St. Lawrence River, the amazing ships going by, the marina. They won't be able to go outside, but they will be able to go up to the very top deck on the inside. So we're pretty excited about that. We're also looking at adding a live feed camera that will provide people with a view of the shipping traffic from the ground story for those that may have mobility issues that can't necessarily get up to the top, as well as having that available through our website. So anyone could tune in and get a really good vantage point of the shipping traffic. So that's another aspect that we're pretty excited about. It'll be a bit of a kind of a satellite visitor center as well. So the individual operating that will be providing some visitor information services, not providing guided tours. It will be a self-serve tour, but they'll be providing general information, copies of tours and materials, answering any sort of questions that happen to come up. And that lighthouse will also be a bit of a home base for the farmers market clerk as well. So we'll be keeping a lot of supplies there, just so it's a little bit more convenient than the shed back at the Shoppers Drug Mart parking lot. So that's a really fun initiative that's really going to give some new businesses an opportunity to kind of get their feet wet when it comes to a new business venture in an actual brick and mortar location. And the ultimate goal is hopefully these vendors will transition into maybe permanent brick and mortar businesses at some point. So it's almost a bit of a bit of a business incubator as well, and will hopefully attract more visitors and eventually businesses to the community. So I definitely encourage you to come down, support it this summer whenever you can. There's a great variety of vendors from retail to food. So there's, whatever you might be interested in, there's certainly something I'm sure that would appeal. And yeah, just support the venture wherever possible by coming down and also promoting any sort of post you see. We have developed a dedicated social media page, Facebook, and we haven't created Instagram yet, have we?
Not created Instagram
Okay.
yet, but it is to come.
Potentially, yes, might be creating Instagram, but just search for Prescott Pop-Ups and you'll find us. So like the page, share any content that you see, and as much as you can throughout your endeavors. Back over to you.
Promenade.
Oh, can I ask a question about
Yeah.
that? I've had a lot of people ask me actually, and I don't know the answer. So, do these pop-ups pay rent?
They do, yes, yeah. So they pay a monthly rent, or you can also, we're reserving one, possibly two, depending on how some conversations work out this week, for a rotating option, because we thought it would give, not everyone was willing to commit to a full season. So we thought it would give an opportunity for someone to maybe take it for a weekend here and there. And also nonprofits. We've had some interest from some nonprofits. For those, we are considering offering it for no fee, if it was a nonprofit or a charity. But no, for anyone, any sort of business renting them, there is certainly a fee associated with it. They do include power, not water, but they do include power as part of that rent as well. So there is certainly a utility cost that we need to cover. And something else I did forget to mention is we are encouraging vendors to be open from Thursday to Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Certainly anyone who wants to is free to open outside of those hours, but those are the minimum operating hours that we're requiring vendors to maintain through the season.
Okay, thanks.
Question.
Yeah.
Actually, now I have two questions because you added something that I didn't expect. The lighthouse, free or is there, okay.
Yeah, absolutely free, no charge to enter.
Yeah, to go up,
To
yeah.
go up to no charge whatsoever. It's something that we're just trying to add as another tourism asset for people to see and explore. And then hopefully we can engage with them from, visitor information perspective. Hopefully encourage them to visit the downtown and check out some of the other great attractions that we have in the community.
And the second question, the pop-up shops, Sundays, 11 to 7.
Yes.
Because I understand the purpose of it, I do. But what if we just hit that wall that you just don't have business after a certain time on Sunday? I know we're actually trying to promote to do the opposite, but.
Oh, for sure. And we're also, there's a gray area everywhere. Like these are
Yeah.
recommendations. So depending on the nature of the business, or maybe, a business wants to propose being open on a Wednesday evening and maybe closing early on a Sunday or not being open those days. We're trying to keep it as consistent as possible, but we certainly
Yeah.
understand that there needs to be some flexibility here and there. We have some vendors that may not be able to open every weekend just because life happens, right? So we do understand that, but that's why at the beginning, we have a lot of, in-depth conversation with the vendors to get a really good sense of what they're proposing and, what dates there is a potential that they may not be there, just to ensure that we've always got at least the majority operating for every weekend.
Dean, I have a quick question. We have Sunday concert series too, right? So what time would they normally run? Would they be parallel with the pop-up shops?
So the Sunday concert series, what time did they start last year? Was it
Yeah.
6?
Oh, yeah.
6 to 8?
So that's really nice because they can
Yeah.
first.
That's
So
not
what an advantage for that to be open on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because then you'll have some traffic.
We also provide Justin's prepared events rack card. So we've got a listing of every event happening this season. So we're providing that to all of the pop-up vendors and businesses and really distributing that far and wide throughout the town. But that's where we're also going to be encouraging those pop-up vendors to align their hours with those when there's special events happening, when the Shakespeare productions are going on. Stay open at least, try to stay open at least to their intermission, which a lot of times might be 8 p.m. So, you know, you may want to consider not opening until noon on a Shakespeare day and stay open until 8 and really just trying to, assist vendors with getting the most, maximizing the potential that they can out of this while being open when we have an influx of people that are looking for those things. The Lighthouse ice cream shop last year, it did that quite a bit, adjusted their hours to align with some of the different events. Summer concert series were one of their biggest money makers. Yeah. I think that's it for questions. Promenade.
Onward. Riverwalk Promenade is, this will be shocking, but is starting Victoria Day weekend too. So it's, and you might remember last year's, where on the long weekends during the summer, we closed down that section of the street and really had a very large number of events going on in those 2 weekends. It will be closed down every weekend from Victoria Day to Labor Day weekend this year, but you won't see that same density of events on most of the non-long weekends. The farmers market will be there. It will be a public space. There will be some, perhaps some busking type entertainment there, hopefully some art installations throughout the year. But on those non-long weekends, it'll be more of a public space, almost like a new patio there that's trying to link things between the waterfront and the downtown.
Where's that at? Like, where's that at?
So it's Edward Street between King Street and Water Street, so right beside O'Leary's.
Yeah.
We closed it for 2 weekends last.
I remember, yeah.
Went really well, and then council supported the closure every weekend for this season. So we were initially planning on requesting the full summer closure. So we'll see how this goes, and I would anticipate that that's probably what we would be approaching council with next year if it's successful. Baby steps. We don't want to overwhelm people. But I can tell you from an operations perspective, it would be a lot easier just to close it for the full summer. Yes.
You guys.
And those concrete barriers, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
So next up, Digital Main Street. So you might have noticed our new guest here this evening. You probably may have seen the post that we did on social media. It's gone out across quite a few of our pages. But last week we welcomed Taylor Prosser as our new Digital Main Street coordinator. So he covers not just Prescott, but Edwardsburg, Cardinal, and Augusta as well. So he's gotten through his Digital Main Street training and is getting ready to get out and meet with as many businesses as he can to get the grant going again. I'm looking around the room and I think you've taken both of 2 grants already, Nicole. Yeah, and Charity, I know I asked you the other day, but
Yep, I have.
Terry, you'll be eligible soon for the digital transformation grant, which is $2,500 to help with digital marketing for small businesses. So Taylor will be out meeting with everyone over the next little while, but we wanted him to go out and meet everyone tonight. And Taylor, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say.
Happy to be here.
Hello, welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great group. They won't bite.
Well, not every month, I don't think, but we'll do maybe a quarterly presentation where Taylor can talk about how the program's progressing and what, how many grants we're getting, specifically focusing on the BIA area. There are a number of businesses that will still be eligible for a grant this time through, and we'd like to see as many take advantage of it as possible. I know we talked about the program there last month, but I'll do it again right now. It's been really impactful getting those grants to small businesses. I know last week we talked about how impactful it's been for a lot of the BIA businesses, and including people in this room, and getting as many people to start utilizing those tools, social media marketing and digital tools as we can is, I think, key to trying to move things ahead as we are. I mean, I don't know if, I know we talked about it last week, but if anyone has any digital Main Street questions.
I have just a little bit of feedback being a recipient. If there was the first round, there was a little bit of guidance as far as some recommendations of who to contact and who could help you get the money spent then in a good, like how you plan to. If we had a bit more of that and an updated list of maybe some different contacts like that you would know, or you could research, that again would line us up with the right people to make sure we're spending the money and getting the work done. Because that was one challenge that I came across myself, and probably just because I'm just really out of that world. But like, I think that would be helpful for me and all the other businesses, and just making sure that we're spending those dollars like we could be. Because yeah, I just got a little lost in that, like, okay, I've got this money and I get to spend it, but who and how do I even contact the right people? So just a little bit of feedback, maybe that would help me.
Is that like internet advertising or what? Explain it a little bit.
So essentially, the grant can go to cover things like social media advertising, search engine advertising. It can also go to actual hardware used in your business. So things like point of sale, squares, inventory systems, laptops to run those sorts of things. That you can use a portion of it towards things like that. The primary idea is just to try to get businesses to better utilize those tools to get in touch with people.
And to charity, actually, your feedback is well timed, because we just had an updated vendor list, I believe, that came out of a meeting today.
So we will have one of those in the coming days that essentially divides local vendors by the streams that you're eligible for in the grant.
Oh, okay.
So if you're, you can look through that and see, okay, these are the vendors who can do social media marketing. These are the ones that can do e-commerce.
Oh, that's exactly, yeah.
Exactly what you want, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And local to the county.
Yeah, because that was, yeah, the
Because
other.
the biggest problem with the Digital Main Street vendor directory is that it's incredibly difficult to actually search by a specific area, which, I mean, on one hand, their idea is, well, this stuff is, you don't have to be local to do this stuff, but as you know, it's a whole lot easier to do those things when you can actually talk to, speak to, sit down with people who you're working with.
Okay.
You can get a website built too, Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever plan on going that way.
And for you, if you're looking at an e-commerce site too, with the food ordering possibly, like there could be a lot of options that you could explore.
Yeah, those, just in the process of setting up the POS system there, all that, there's lots encompassed in that. I didn't realize how many systems are out there. And of course,
Yeah.
you Google one and then your
Yeah.
smartphone and you just get bombarded with, it's crazy. I never realized how many systems are out there.
So
Justin
Clover
too,
Square.
like if you reach out, he can give you some insight
Yeah,
into what other
Use
people
Clover
use.
Square.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went,
Trying to-
By far the cheapest.
yeah, I went with Toast.
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 I've never heard of Toast. I was just gonna say Clover or Square are the ones that most seem to be using. If you're not using like Moneris and
Yeah, so
bigger.
I was in that industry for 10 years. So you want to be careful with the smaller ones simply because in terms of if something goes wrong, their systems aren't as strong. And in a lot of cases, the technology isn't domiciled within Canada or like in a lot of cases with the acquiring industry, a lot of the systems are based in the US because their standards are not up to par with Europe or Canada.
Well, Toast is based in Arizona there.
Yes.
I read up.
Based and their standards are European.
Okay,
So my POS is Moneris just because they never go down.
yeah, they're pretty big, like they're in, I researched it and did,
Yeah, they're owned partly 50% RBC BMO. And they're completely domiciled within Canada. So all their support's out of Moncton. So if you have questions,
okay.
I could bore you to death on the acquiring industry.
Hey, like I said, I had no idea there were so many options out there.
Yeah. You gotta be
Lot of
careful
learning.
about it.
Everyone wants the percentage of your cash, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and that could be even, maybe potentially a good webinar option for us to explore down the road is some of these different payment providers and help businesses avoid some of those pitfalls.
Yeah, because I have talked to different businesses in town and stay away from this person and
Yeah.
blah, 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 right? So.
Yeah,
They had really good reviews. I went by mainly the reviews, right? You get on the internet, and you just read the reviews and.
And I just Googled, it looks like a restaurant specific one.
It is.
I was gonna say, it sounds like it's specific for your
There's supposed to
industry.
be in like 100,000 places in the States there, and they've been really supportive so far,
Yeah,
so.
a lot of them, you give it a run and if it doesn't work out,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
learn as you go a little bit. Try
Yeah,
not to stumble too much, but that's to be expected.
yeah, and the restaurants is a totally
Different.
different animal.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
inventory is usually entirely integrated in through.
oh, everything, inventory, timekeeping,
It's a very niche
it's,
sector of acquiring,
yeah,
yeah.
like, for what I want to start, it's probably overload to the max, but it's always there to grow into, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, and we're not like we use Square and we haven't begun to delve into the full capabilities.
So we're using 27% of its capabilities when we log in Square.
Yes. Yeah, so it slaps you in the face with that too.
Tells you that.
You're underutilizing it, yeah.
Excuse me.
Lord.
Okay, downtown lighting updates?
So the lights, I believe, are sitting in operations yard as we speak. They have been, if not arrived, they shipped late last week, so they will definitely be here by tomorrow or the next day. They're gonna get them installed over the next couple of weeks, be working them in between, the whole other projects, everything else we've dumped on them. But they look beautiful. I think they're gonna look spectacular. I think we'll get a really good response from people. And with those patios there, I was picturing it the other night. We went down to form a bit of a cheering section for the Fort Town Night Runners.
Oh, yeah.
And I was picturing the poles and where some of those lights are going to go. And they're just in perfect proximity to some of those new downtown patios that we've added too. So, yeah, I think it'll be a beautiful ambiance that we'll have, for the remaining months of the year that the snowflakes aren't there, so. Yeah, pretty excited, so I'll send an update by email, if I get a heads up on the install day. If not, just look up when you're out at night and you'll see them soon enough. Oh, and this is me too, okay, downtown business and development update. So I did want to mention that Justin actually is going to be speaking at the inaugural Augusta Economic Development Summit this Friday, taking place at Merck Hall. It is free registration, but but there's going to be a section on the digital Main Street program. So they've asked Justin to come and provide an overview of the program. Great opportunity for members to get a more fulsome look into what that program is all about, and also some of the successes that it's seen with some of the businesses that we've engaged with today. So pretty excited about that. It should be a great event. They've got a really good range of guest speakers, including Shelley Bacon, owner of Northern Cables, which is also based here in Prescott. So it looks to be a good day, a good agenda. If anyone does want to register, we are happy to register anyone on your behalf. Friday from, I believe, 8:30 to 2.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah. It's at the Merck Hall in Augusta. But we'll have an update either way at the next meeting. But it's a good opportunity to get out there and promote the program and communicate some of the benefits to hopefully some new players and faces. And should be a good day opportunity to network with people as well, which we always find sometimes a lot more beneficial than the actual event itself. And then I just wanted to update the group. It is Economic Development Week. So Economic Development Week occurs the second week of May every year. And it was originally launched by the International Economic Development Association, and it's something that some of the Canadian ACDEV associations have adopted. We've got some resources that we're in the process of getting out there and promoting. So just an opportunity to raise awareness about economic development, what it is, and some of the focuses that we have. So just encourage you to, if you see those on our Invest page, will be the where you can find a lot of those posts going out this week. And please share through your networks if you should see them. And I would definitely encourage you to follow the link and go to the International Economic Development Council website, where you can delve into a lot of interesting resources and learn a lot more about economic development and what happens under that portfolio. And for other updates, we have an exciting opening happening this Thursday, which I believe I've emailed the group about. We have the Best of Farmers Market opening in downtown Prescott at noon. And we also have Subway opening, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. They've done a soft opening, but we'll have an official grand opening ceremony. And then over the past month, we celebrated some really exciting openings, including River Home & Co., Natalie Sobey's business, one of our members. That was a long time coming, and it's beautifully appointed. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I would definitely make a point of getting in there to pay it a visit. And then we also celebrated the anniversary of Prescott Service and Auto Sales this week. They celebrated their 36th anniversary. A lot of long-standing businesses that we've been celebrating recently with the new council. It's a new initiative that's been spearheaded by the mayor and other members of council that I think is a really nice thing to do, to not only recognize businesses for opening, but celebrate the ones who have stuck it out and committed to this community through good times and bad, and have been supported by the local residents for many years. And I think it's a good chance to celebrate them and all the good things that they do for our community too. And then we had the Kriska opening, attended that earlier this month as well, which was fantastic. We had a really in-depth tour of the operation, learned a lot about the things that go on there, and just the vast array of employees and operations. It was really eye-opening, a really great operation. And then we had just celebrated Blacks Creek opening on the weekend, May 6th. That's located on Development Drive, so I would definitely encourage you, if you have an opportunity. They've got a showroom open to the public. They manufacture firewood processing equipment, so everything from splitters to strippers to the whole array of anything dealing with firewood tree removal. It's an interesting company, and they've got a growing employee base, so we're really excited to welcome them to the town. And I would just suggest stay tuned. We are in the process of finalizing some other openings and milestones in the next few weeks, so watch your email for updates. That's it for me.
Thank you. I guess we'll move on to item 10, agenda items, the parklet patio activations / summer promotions.
So I believe everyone likely saw this week that the parklets, the patios were installed in downtown Prescott. There is one at the east end of King Street West in front of Property Guys and the Craft Boutique. There is one at the west end of King Street West in front of Quality Creations and that general area. And then one at the larger one at the base of the clock tower. So they're in place. And one of the things we talked about the marketing and placemaking committee meetings last time through was, is there a way we could activate those spaces to both identify them to people as a public space that they should go and enjoy and integrate that in with the downtown. So one of the ideas that came out of that was, what if, because we'd like to encourage more evening shopping in the summer, more people out during the evening, extend those shopping hours, extend the shopping day, extend the shopping week. What if we utilize that larger patio on the clock tower and the former stage for the farmers market to have live entertainment on Thursday evenings and encourage businesses to stay open, offer promotions throughout the downtown, and try to schedule some other entertainment events, promotions during those Riverwalk Thursdays. So an opportunity to have more evening shopping, draw people downtown and provide a little more activity in those summer evenings. So in order to do so, there would be a cost associated with the entertainment especially. So the recommendation after the discussion at the committee was that the board allocate $2,000 for entertainment and costs associated with the Riverwalk Thursdays downtown promotion. So that would largely go to cover having performers on that stage. We'd have to discuss when we'd like to kick that off, how many Thursdays, et cetera, would be involved in that, what time of the year or what time of the spring, summer, we'd like to start that promotion. But I have talked to a handful of businesses since that placemaking committee, and there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for staying open on those Thursday nights, trying that in sort of a cohesive group effort. And I think it would be an opportunity to really bring some life on one of those days of the week where it can quiet down pretty quickly at the end of the day down there.
Questions, thoughts?
So there's no date set for the first Thursday yet?
So that would be one of the things we'd have to come up with. I think there'd be some considerations. I think we want to make sure, or as sure as a person can be in this climate, that it's going to be nice when we do the first one. So warmer temperatures, maybe want to stretch it out from that Victoria Day weekend. So one thought that I had was aligning it with that last week of school, when people may want to have more, be outside more, also gives us some time to give to the businesses that would have to do scheduling to have staff on that night, those nights.
That was the time frame that my mind went to first, is out of school maybe, school's out for the summer, real summer feel to it, shopping starts, we come to life a little more. I think that would be good timing. Not to go throwing our money around, but if we're gonna do, well, I guess now we can figure out how many Thursdays that would be, but is $2,000 enough for entertainment for every Thursday? And then
if we started on the 22nd of June, I think that would be around the school week, or end of school year.
I think that would be one before, which would be okay.
That would be 9, 10, 11. 11 Thursdays, which would probably, that's right around the budget if we had musical entertainment
I guess with
At that
variety, different levels of entertainment would
And
be
if
able
we-
to fit within it.
spiced it up, like we do have the other two patios as well, which could be of use to have something more like busker type entertainment. I know a balloon person has emailed me recently saying that they're relatively local and available for events, face painters, things like that. If we wanted to have multiple entertainers like that, that's,
I feel like that's a good drawing card because it's not just those looking to come spend money, although those are the ones we would like to see, but then also just people down wandering, then tempted to come into. Yeah. Yeah. So will we have an additional,
Yeah, being on the patios and actually using them, and that gives us.
Seeing them in a
opportunities to
positive
take pictures
way.
Of it, exactly, yeah.
yeah.
So I would also suggest from a financial standpoint that we would be prepared to match it or at the very least cover any overage through the economic development department.
Yeah, to help them bring in those additional things, yeah.
So there would be additional funding other than the 2,000?
Through ECDA,
Okay, so I'm
up
trying
to
to figure it out.
up to 2,000, yeah. So that would give you essentially a max of 4,000 to work with for the season.
And can we integrate Shakespeare at all? Like if the timing is right, could we do something to promote them as well in that spot?
We would love to. We've talked about maybe having, an artist or two from the Artist Guild come up and do a demo. Have one of a Shakespeare production performer.
Yeah, in
come up and do a little mini, vignette on one of the patios.
That's,
Yeah.
this bizarre thought I can't get out of my head since I saw patios installed for the first time. Is how cool would it be to see someone painting something?
The sidewalk chalk artist,
Yep,
we talked
yep.
about maybe bringing the sidewalk chalk artist back in, right? In the vicinity of the patio, and then you've got this beautiful place to sit. Yeah.
and the one in June, maybe, is there still that student choir? I think Linda Jonas.
Yeah.
And just because as a school and
Yeah.
nothing draws more than all the parents wanting to see their kid, as long as there's not prom, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
long as there's not graduation, if you had it where it was kid focused, like the choir, if it still exists, then all those parents are gonna come down and check it out too, possibly.
And I know there was those kids that played O'Heife's on a Wednesday there, from Kempville there.
That's Cole's brother,
Yeah.
isn't it?
They're awesome.
So he played.
They rocked that place, I'm telling
They
you.
first performed at the Prescott Market. We have booked them originally. And
They're at the market.
Yeah. we like to claim as being the launch pad for a few local musicians, but to Bonnie's point, that's really where we've taken that focus is on the youth performers because they also have this whole built-in entourage because they bring their
Absolutely, yeah.
friends and their family and everyone comes out to support this local youth that gets an opportunity to get a public audience and it's been.
They rock that place,
Yes.
there's probably 5 or 6 of them
Yeah.
all together.
And always very talented, these are not just
Absolutely.
very talented people.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah, so really that's kind of, I think the focus that we talked about is keeping it more youth, local oriented performers, really giving people a bit of a place to,
Showcase.
a bit of a showcase for local talent.
Could there be an opportunity for businesses to sponsor a night?
But I don't see why not. We couldn't, there's no reason we couldn't look at that. If a business wanted to come in and sponsor an artist or maybe sponsor someone a little bit more with a bit more cachet or draw that.
I'm not saying ask the businesses because we don't want to be in that.
No, but if someone had decided they liked
Yeah,
it,
if someone wants to.
certainly,
I sponsor
you
those
know.
kids in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
we certainly wouldn't turn away a sponsor,
like obviously in trade for them to.
get some sort of promotional value out of it, yeah. And that is something else I wanted to mention with the patios, that was actually a great suggestion of a business owner. So with those patios, it's something that we're really, we recognize it's important to keep them maintained to ensure that they always look their best and don't get a bunch of refuse or or God forbid, graffiti or something like that, that if there is an issue that happens, it gets addressed right away. So we were a little bit strategic in our placement as well, that we tried to place them in, adjacent to businesses that we know are, a little bit more engaged or community minded, possibly involved with the BIA, that can kind of almost adopt a patio, so to speak, just to kind of keep an extra set of eyes on it. We're still going to be monitoring them on a regular basis. Operations department is going to be monitoring them by law. You've got multiple internal staff that are watching these, but just to have, a local business that kind of takes a little bit of ownership. And we've got a couple businesses in, the adjacent area that are prepared to do that. But then we had a great suggestion came forward of what if you gave them an option of like an adopt a patio thing, where in exchange for providing a little bit of protection and oversight, that they would, we could put a little bit of signage on there, this patio adopted by, such and such a business, make it clear in the verbiage so it doesn't give the impression that they've, actually provided the cost financially. But I think it might be a nice little way to encourage businesses to, get involved, take a little bit more ownership, especially if these things are successful and we look at adding more down the road in the future.
Great.
Probably no one takes up residency on.
Those things, right? Reporting things that they see, right? So that we can get ahead of potential, something that could become an issue if left unchecked, right? So yeah, just wanted to add that little piece to that.
And you said recommendation, do you need a motion from the board to do this?
We would,
Yes.
yes, appreciate support of the,
I'd like to make a motion that the BIA Board of Management allocate up to $2,000 for entertainment related to the Riverwalk Thursday summer shopping and downtown activation promotion. Do I have a mover? Thank you. Second, thank you. Okay, item 11. Wait, yes.
Sorry, excuse me. One thing that I was wondering about is like when we had the Riverwalk stage before, would it be like, how was the BIA kind of integrated into knowing that we kind of funded it? Do you know what I mean? Like last year we said Riverwalk stage.
This shall once again be the Riverwalk stage. We're actually ordering the backdrop to go up behind there, so it'll be the Riverwalk stage again.
Okay. Just wondering if we wanted to be identified at all as, a sponsor.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, we need to know, we need the businesses to see that we're acting as viable promoters and advocates for them. So, and ambassadors. So 100%, yes.
Should it be noted somewhere that the economic development will match or cover any costs over the 2,000?
it would be, couldn't hurt to amend the motion just to.
Okay, if we could amend the motion that the ECDAV will allocate additional funds if required to continue entertainment related to the Riverwalk Thursday summer shopping and downtown activation promotion.
Up to 2,000?
Up to two, yeah.
Up to $2,000.
Maximum, yeah.
Mover? Thank you. All in favor? Okay, committee roundtable, new business for members.
Takers? I'm probably gonna be the, I guess, the only one that may speak. I don't know if you guys are aware or have seen it. After a lot of time and thought, we are closing our business. So, which means I will be resigning. Because I have to. Just that's the bylaw. Good news is we just, I don't know if you got it back today or not, but we did decide to sign on with the pop-ups. So we are going to be heading down that way. We originally announced we were going to close the 30th of June. That has moved up relatively quickly due to some unforeseen circumstances. We will definitely be done by the end of this month, probably the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so I am, as of tonight, resigning.
So Kevin, I'm so sorry to have to accept your resignation.
Oh, it's okay.
You are so passionate and committed to the town of Prescott and the BIA, and we have to support your decision to evolve your business
Oh, yeah.
in the way that it needs to go, but you know, you have our support. We are so grateful for you, and your voice will always be heard, and you're not going anywhere.
No.
Still here, we know how to find you.
I'm a hard person to get rid of. That being said, I don't know where you guys will go with things in the future.
Yes, you will.
Well, I'm sure I'll hear.
No, and you'll be a part of it.
Group of women.
You have a voice.
Dude, I was the only one for the longest time. When the conversation came up about those snowflake lights, I just did one of these. Because everybody just went nuts with those. I'm like, go. But no, as far as your subcommittees go, I don't recall what the bylaws are. But
And that's on my list to look into.
okay, yeah, I don't recall, but if you do welcome public volunteers.
And again, your voice is always heard. You're here. You're one of us. You're officially, unofficially, you're one of us.
I told you, I'm loud. I get myself in trouble on occasion.
Yeah, I recall you mentioning that.
I'm happy to hear you're going to one of the pop-ups. I hoped when you asked the question specifically about the hours, it meant you were gonna say
Well,
that.
that was an afterthought. When you said it again, that's kind of what I thought about, but I know the purpose of it, and I get it. And,
No, that's good. I'm.
But no,
happy to
we
hear
did a lot of
that
number
it's
crunching.
Have a location.
And my online sales still completely outdo my in
As much
shop.
as it's
Even in the
so-
summer, I do well for foot traffic,
Yeah.
foot traffic, sorry. But for a whole year, it's easier to cut the overhead.
Yeah.
So,
Kevin, that's the sign of a good entrepreneur, being able to pivot, making those tough decisions to support the ongoing continuance of the business. Like, we appreciate, like, that's an act of bravery, and we know how hard this is for you, but you should be so proud that you're doing everything you can to protect your business.
Oh, yeah.
And it brings people into Prescott, and we're so proud of you. Thank you.
well, it took me a while to be happy about where it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And in the off season, well, I've already talked to 2 store owners who might let me do the odd pop up here and there.
Again, you're pivoting, right? And that's the one thing COVID taught us, is a business has to know how to pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I opened that shop in COVID.
You know, so
Yeah.
you should be proud. You should be very, very proud.
But long story short, yeah, as of this evening, I'll be done and hiding somewhere. Yeah.
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah, I'll be sitting on the river most of the summer.
hiding very well. Yeah. You just can't get close enough to the water.
That's what I said to Cheryl today. I said, you realize we're basically going to be sitting along the river the whole summer.
You better
right?
get those cozy Costco inflatable camper chairs.
That's
Real
gonna
cozy
break
down there.
Cooler going on the side.
Yeah, you have power. One of those mini fridges.
Exactly.
Plug her in there.
Hammocks, we got gelato, we got a food truck. We're
Yeah, it sounds like a good location to spend the summer. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
It's terrible.
See, that's the thing, the more we thought about it, we're
Yeah,
like,
see?
nah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, change is always easy, but then once you start thinking about it and seeing the
And
new
you're
opportunities.
committing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And I do think online
Yeah.
is a smart way, and having the seasonal
well, I was always
actual
online.
location is
Yeah,
perfect.
I was online for years before I even made a shop, right? Because it got to a point where people were asking what my hours were. That's
Want to
what
see.
started getting a shop. Now, I mean, in a few years, could I really sit and look at it and go, could I live off of it? I don't know, maybe. I mean, our numbers kept going up, but just not enough to go over that edge, right?
But
So
with the overhead down, maybe it can
we'll see what'll happen.
push it,
but,
yeah. No, that's a
We'll go
good,
from there. I've started some conversation with some of our local home business owners, which I totally forgot to tell you about. And I'll talk to you about that at another time and date. But, having some discussions with them about things they'd like to see and stuff like that. So just random conversation,
Yeah.
nothing.
lots of options.
Yeah, anyways, that's my.
And we're sad to
story.
see you go, we're happy to see you move on, and like Belinda said, like, you gotta adapt and go with it, and
Yeah.
I think this is, forward motion. It might not feel like it fully, but I think this is forward
It's
motion.
more the last couple of days that it feels more like it than originally when we made the decision.
Yeah.
The decision sucked.
Yeah.
Well, today we started moving stuff already.
Oh, I was looking at the
That
back of
also
your
sucked.
truck today, you know how
That
all of
also
my
sucked.
treasures, I'm like, what's he got in there?
Because we're sitting there like, where do I put everything? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But you've got our support and we're so grateful for you, and thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for your passion and commitment. And you're still one of us. Your voice is still heard.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just a quick little add, I do want to say, I think I speak on behalf of Justin, that from a staff perspective, the support that you've provided from, the entire time that we've been involved in this organization it does not go unnoticed, Kevin. You come out to everything. You have supported every initiative that this BIA has ever taken on, and I just want you to know from the bottom of our hearts that we always appreciated that. And, there's very few people who can say that they've been to the extent of, from farmers markets to every business opening that we've had. We've always made it a top priority to support the things that this BIA is taking on as a whole. And from a staff perspective, it's been very appreciated, and thank you for your support, and you will certainly be missed.
Well, the amount of knowledge that's gotten here in 4 years is amazing.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is phenomenal.
And we've learned a lot from you and from every board member. So yeah, just know how important this role is and the impacts that you can make during your time here. And yeah, and thank you for your service.
Okay. Upcoming committee meetings, we've got the Marketing and Promotions Committee, May 16th, and the Placemaking Committee, May 23rd.
Sorry, I would just have
You're so
to ask
quiet.
you, under new business is, I'd love to know how people hear about downtown Prescott or how they get here. And is there some kind of, not survey, but some method of when people are actually here of asking them how they heard about us? And I know we were kind of talking about it at the Visitors Museum.
So-
Somehow incorporating that to find out how they found out about us. And maybe that's where we could direct our marketing to once we.
We are going to do both something in the museum where people can complete I don't want to say survey because that's
Questionnaire.
extensive, but a questionnaire where we find out where they're coming from, and then try to deploy that throughout find a way in which it can be in other locations too, so people can scan it and do it. How did you land here? Where are you coming from? What brought you?
We're also exploring some digital technologies, some new geo-tracking tools that can give us a sense of where people are coming from and also where they're going from here as well. To give you a really good sense of their travel patterns, their original destination. It's all through cell phones, very big brother, and
Really?
a little off-putting for some people, but yes, there are ways to track that movement of people.
Common in other places too.
Yeah. Oh, yes, this is not something that is done very, commonly. It's not an invasion of privacy or anything like that. But yeah, it's just, I think, eye-opening to people that this type of tracking is happening on a day-to-day basis. But the data that you can pull from that is extremely informative and really helps you, again, direct your future marketing.
Without getting into a lot of the detail, how do you do that?
Cell phones, it's all.
Well, I know
cell
that,
phones.
but how does that?
That's why they call them.
I can't explain it. I could provide you with some literature on it, but
A couple ways of doing it. One is setting up a Wi-Fi network, and even if you never connect to a Wi-Fi network, you ping constantly. So it sort of tracks how you're going.
It's just like last year there, my daughter and grandson were out from out west. I took them to the little fair they have up by the casino there in Ottawa. And I never use my phone or whatever. I get home and I start getting advertisements from the casino. Just for being a couple 100 feet away from it.
Okay.
It kind of stems off of the I Heart Main Street program, the art program, but for ways also to kind of get people showing they're here and not necessarily telling them how or why we got here with this, but I've been thinking all sorts of art applications, and one that I thought would be a good idea, and maybe also we could do it in a way through the lighthouse, but like I'm going to say the selfie option, for lack of a better description, but again, tag to Prescott, something that encourages people maybe within the lighthouse. Originally I was thinking a mural, but like some application where they're coming to that, they're taking their picture, they're posting it, and then we almost can see too, like who's doing that, and then they're sharing it and, you know, on a marketing. And then also at that lighthouse, maybe where we have this selfie, again, for lack of a better, but this option to like advertise yourself there, we could have that questionnaire or that digital something there too, and it all be in one spot where, you know, we're promoting people to go to the spot and then like advertise for us and tell you why you came here, like kind of maybe. But yeah, that could be all within that lighthouse, being as it will be a secondary touristy stop to the museum.
That's something that I know I've mentioned it many times, but the smartphone application that we're developing is going to essentially do. So there would be like a rewards-based portion of that. So anyone using that app, we can also track their movement through that. But anyone engaging with that app could actually accumulate points for visiting the different attractions and businesses in town, eventually to the point where they could redeem them for something through the visitor center. And then it's driving them into the visitor center. So then we can also engage with them on the more in-depth surveys and, you know, things of that nature, right? So exactly what you're describing is what we're hoping to be able to, if everything aligns this year, roll out this summer. Between the app, the geo-tracking, and the survey. We'll have a lot better tracking moving forward. And we're also going to be engaging a lot of the attractions this year too, to see, to get their data. So the Ford, Shakespeare, Upper Canada Folk Festival, Summer Concert Series, some of those events, just to get that better sense of, you know, the true picture of who's coming into the community and how they're spending their time when they're here.
Yeah, that app is great too, because I have a lot of people ask me, where do I go? You know, where do I go to know? Where do I go? Which we even had come up with on us just recently, the last meeting. So that an answer to that too, just an easy one answer. Here you go.
And then they can use it for while they're in town only. It's not something they need to keep on their phones. But then it's something that, you know, they may refer to family and friends. If they know they're coming to the area, they can say, hey, there's this cool app that helped me, you know, find out all these different places to see things to see and do. So
I really push the Thousand Islands, anyone that doesn't, you know where we're at. You know, like, you know, people said you spend a fortune to go halfway around the world, and you got one of the most beautiful spots right, you know, 15 minutes from here.
And that's, you know, we're doing a lot of more regional marketing too, to try and promote the broader area as a destination. Because we rec Prescott has some amazing assets, but we may not always be, you know, that thing that in and of itself can attract that. But if the region as a whole is attractive, we're going to get the benefit as well as all these other communities in the area. So yeah, just trying to spread it out a little bit more. But I think, exactly what you're describing, we should be able to start really capturing this year. So stay tuned, I would say. But then you'll also have an opportunity to provide some feedback as we're rolling these tools out and help get the most out of them when we do bring them in.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so item 12, closed session. So my recommendation is that the Board of Management enter closed session under section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal employee, and that the Economic Development Officer and BIA Coordinator remain in the room